lecture 1. Okay, then I'll click on create project. And so here you'll see that I have my file system. And here you can see it's in my home directory, Google Drive, under Teaching Transcriptomics Lecture 1. So what I like to do actually, and this is something you can do as well since NYU has unlimited Google Drive space, is that I always keep my projects in Google Drive so that every time I'm done, it automatically backs it up, which is really helpful. And you can then access that project any computer that you also have your Google Drive set up on. So I've moved, so the slide that I showed you, they had the code in these windows in different positions, but when I teach, I like to have it in this way because the console becomes nice up and central. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click on this here and say new R script, and here's my little editor. Okay, so in my editor here, I'm going to go ahead and put this new command like this. So what this command is doing is going to, like we said, this is this caret sign, and then the dash is a way to assign these values to the letter V. So there are a couple of ways of running this. I can just hold down Control and press Return or Enter, and it will run it for me. So what you see is that once I press that, in the console that executed that command, and it went to the next one. And here in the bottom in my environment, you can see that I have this variable V, and it says that it's numeric, and it's got 7 different values, and here they are. Okay? And then if I want to, later on, I'm going to accumulate a lot of this code, so I want to save this. So I'm going to click on the Save button. I'm going to call it lecture1.r. I'll save it, and then you'll notice that in your file now, in the directory where you're working, you have a new file called lecture1.r. So now every time I write code here and I save it, it's just going to keep saving it into this file. So this is a nice way to manage everything in this directory now. Okay? So now I'm going to create, so I have this variable. If you want to see the content of this variable, or if you want to access it, you just press V. It will give you back the results. Okay? This 1 on the left is actually telling you the position of this first value. So this is telling you that this is the first entry, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So later on, when we have longer vectors, you'll see that the numbers will tell you the position of that first value. So now I'm going to create a new vector. And you notice, so this is PowerPoint. And this is something like text that looks very normal. But when I paste it into this editor, look at these quotes. These are not normal double quotes. So you have to go back and change them. So this is what I mean by these Microsoft Word and probably Pages and all these applications that are more for writing documents. They have all these extra ways of representing simple things which make it hard to translate into R. So that's why I highly recommend that you don't write code in Word documents. Rather, you just keep it as in regular text files. Okay? So I'm going to run this command now. And here, you'll see that I now have V, and V is now a character, V. And V is now a character vector. And I can put my mouse over this, and it says it's a character vector. It tells you how much space it's taking up. Now, one thing to note here, and I think it's very important to realize if you're not familiar or used to this, is that the last or the previous occurrence of V is now gone. Okay? And when you're at this console, you can press Control Z all you want, but it's never going to bring back that value. The only way a Control Z or Command Z works to undo things is actually here in this text editor. So again, a very good idea to write all the codes or commands that you're going to be executing in the console in this editor so that you can keep changing it and knowing that when you made a mistake, you can go back. So for example, if I did that accidentally, I can just go back here, change V back to its numeric value, and then change this to Y. Okay? And then also I want you to note that I'm going to create a vector, and in this vector I'm going to actually put in the value NA. NA is empty value. I mean, it's missing a value, so it's just a placeholder. So because of that, by definition, it could be provided in any vector. So obviously we can't mix and match these things, but NA is an exception where, because it just means that it's a missing value. It's just a placeholder. So you can, and you're allowed to, and you should if you have to, provide NA when there's missing data.